Yo, JD here to all of us. And as you can see, we are back on F1 2021 as always. And it's been a while since I've actually done just a normal commentary over an online race, which I actually did this one yesterday. So I will be streaming my open lobbies again back on my Twitch channel, which you can see down in the description. So I'll try and do that maybe 2 or 3 times per week. But yeah, it's been a while. Normally it's been league racing or other games, but getting back into Formula 1 games again, and we are going to be showcasing a full race here today. And if you haven't guessed by the title already or just seen it here now, this is at Portimao, and I don't know what it is, but this track, I just cannot get along with it. It is just a very, very unique track. I actually enjoy driving it, but at the same time, just absolutely hate it. And please let me know what your thoughts are of this track, because for me, I just never ever seem to be able to get a good result. So jumping straight into this, we're going to be showing the entire race as usual in order to hopefully give a bit of an insight into what it takes to try and be fast around here and how to win in open lobbies. But yeah, starting off in the Mercedes with the medium tyres, which I don't really recommend. If you're doing a league race around here, I would actually say starting on the softs is a better option than the alternate strategy around here. I think it's one of very, very few tracks where I actually feel that's probably the best strategy to do, especially if you're doing a qualifying, of course, or full qualifying or short qualifying. The softs are just so good at the start and usually get enough gap that you need for the second part of the race. But you can see here, this is mostly filled with my YouTube members. So if you are interested in racing against me and want to be guaranteed a slot on these lobbies, then click the YouTube join button to join my membership. And I'll be racing on all platforms as well. So coming through here, we made a fairly decent start up into P12 on these medium tyres. And you can see a couple of people were just parked up on the beach there. Don't know what was going on, but now we've gone up into P10, so already in a points paying position, and so far so good, you would think. And apologies if my voice sounds a bit different. I've completely lost my voice at the moment. I've got quite a bad cold, so hopefully it isn't too bad. But moving back into this, just go follow this guy ahead of Super Kizzy, who's on these soft tyres. And Portimao is actually a very, very hard track to overtake on. It's quite narrow, due to the nature of the corners and the straights, and where the DRS zones are positioned as well. I think it makes it very, very challenging to overtake around this circuit. And corners such as this, you just have to do such a weird line and a weird gear selection as well. Normally going in the higher gears around those corners does prove to be the most beneficial. As we go across the line, we're doing a 19.7, so guy in the lead, I'm pretty sure it's on the soft tyre at the moment, as these two are going about trying to go side by side into here. We were thinking about going down the inside here, but decided to think better of it. So this is going to be our first DRS zone, as you can see, and getting quite a good exit. It's a very, very awkward corner, and we should be taking this position quite nicely. This guy decides not to fight back, which is good. So now we're up into P8. We've got this guy on the softs up ahead, so it's nice, or it's good that he's very, very close to us, because of alternate strategy we should be able to beat him quite comfortably. But we do have another guy called Kills Rapids, who again is a YouTube member of mine, a very, very fast driver himself. So I was quite keen to get into the back of him, but going through corners such as this, I feel this track gives you the biggest effect of dirty air out of any of the tracks. It is just so hard to follow. So coming off this corner as well, doesn't matter what line I do, always seem to get a poor exit off here. So
I can never do
and
this
I just
corner.
say that exactly there. trying to get a good run onto the straight. And even though when you're tucked right up behind someone, it's actually really hard to get a slipstream until you get onto the straight itself. And we've got the DRS, but he's going to be defending, and it's just a really, really awkward turn one. So we're just losing time here for the both of us. So we're going to be patient once again. Kind of put a half-assed setup on. I wasn't really that confident with the setup I'll be running here. We've got another dose of the DRS. Are we going to go down the inside? Yes, we are. And we'll just about make it stick. So, but no, actually, he's going to go around the outside of us because this corner gives you the opportunity to do that. And now we get the move done. But the thing is, we have a song straight and he's on the soft tyres. He's probably going to be able to stick with us quite nicely, as we've got Kills Rappers and also GJ Perks up here, who I also believe is another YouTube member. So the gap is about 2.1 seconds. Really need to get back at this train and go into this left-hander.
Oh gosh, I'm so bad at this last sector.
Yeah, this last sector, I just can't figure it out. I find it so easy to lock up. Doesn't matter what lines I do. Please give me advice on what you think, because although I feel very confident at most tracks, this track and myself just don't get along at all, as I'm about to be re-overtaken again by this guy, and we've got Veloce Dragon behind. Anyway, Maris, who is a championship rival in BRS as well. And it also seems to be that the controller is surprisingly good around this circuit, which you probably wouldn't think that would be the case, but
10 seconds.
But yeah, Veloci Dragon's got 10 seconds worth of penalties behind, which is quite impressive to say the least. And we're still not particularly gaining on this medium pack up ahead. You can see there's quite a big train up ahead of us here. So I'm going to try and follow this McLaren as closely as possible. But right now, not really too sure how we can click around this circuit. It's just a very, very technical track in my opinion. Very easy to make mistakes. Very little room for error. And it's just very, very hard to get on the traction as well. I find it a very, very low grip circuit when I'm playing on it. So coming through into here, you can see we're using the ERS because I really wanted to get this move done to try and propel me up towards these medium runners. And it's actually very, very hard to save the ERS as well around this track. It's very, very punishing in that aspect. So coming through into Stel 1, managing to get that move done. And the gap is still 2.1 seconds. So we haven't really gained any time on where we want to be so far in this race. And we're going to be pushing a little bit harder now just to see if we can make any inroads into this pack up ahead. Not really using the green part of the track. I find it doesn't really give me that much grip when I'm trying to get on the traction. But coming through into here, let's see if we can make up some time. And again, just no matter what I do, I just can't seem to have a superior pace around this circuit. It's just very, very odd for me. Normally I get used to tracks quite quickly, but this one is just, you know, I've actually lost a little bit of time in this middle sector as well. So going through into left-hander, which is notoriously easy to lock up. Going through into here, it felt like I did that quite well, but we're still losing time on the exit. And hopefully this McLaren doesn't decide to overtake us. So we're on to lap 7, and we actually do the fastest lap of the race with the aid of the DRS. So a slight boost in confidence that we do have somewhat of a pace around this circuit. So coming into this first sector, and right here is a pretty much no man's land. I just feel like I just can't gain any time on these guys up ahead, but it looks like they are bunching up a little bit more, and this is kind of a time where people might start to think of pitting, as this guy, Mr. Speedy,
oh god, I couldn't see anything,
has had a little bit of an instance, so we're up into P6 now, and the gap has pretty much stayed the same. It's actually even extended now, because I think there's a lot of people up here who have the DRS from a guy who is leading this train, the McLaren, who is on the soft tyres. So they're just getting all dragged along at this point, and I just find it so hard to just... If someone's got DRS in front of them around this track, it's really hard to gain all the time through the corners. Since quite a lot of them are flat out all the time as well. It's coming through it here, coming towards the end of lap 7. See what this lap time is. It's a 19.0, so quite a good pace at this stage, but still no one has pitted. So coming through into this turn 1, we still have the guy on the mediums within our DRS zone, and looks like the cars up ahead are really starting to get quite a bit closer together. So you can see we're running quite low on the ERS. So we're just checking to see where our teammate is, just to avoid a double box. And yeah, the ERS, since we used a little bit to make that overtake, it's really hard to recover. And I think I was running quite low wings here as well. I was running like 5-9 wings or something like that. And we're still struggling to recoup the battery power. So if you go for a move and you fully commit with the battery, it's going to be almost impossible to keep doing that. Otherwise, you don't have unlimited battery. You have to save it at some point. So coming through into here, going quite wide, and now we've started to gain a bit of time because the slap bus who's on the softs, looks like the softs are slowly starting to go off. And let's see if anyone's pitted. I think one person has pitted here. I think this guy called Pold in the Aston Martin has pitted. It's coming through into here. Looks like we are finally starting to gain a little bit more time. Going deep into this corner, and we've managed to break the DRS off the McLaren up behind us. And now this is the point where you'd probably maybe think of pitting to do the undercut, since a lot of these guys are on the mediums up ahead. But since the guy in the lead was on the softs, as usual, we want to try and maximize our tyres as much as possible. So I'm really going to try and get in the DRS zone to maybe carry on for an extra lap, because I don't think the undercut is going to be that significant. So really pushing hard here to get back within this DRS zone. You can see we haven't used any ERS, but we're still pretty much exactly where we were on the previous lap. So I'm really making sure we try and get a good penultimate corner, trying to get some good traction, using a bit of the overtake to get into the DRS zone, which we just about have, as now 2 people pit of the slap bus and GJ Perks. Now we have got the DRS.
Oh, the guy in the lead is on...
And the guy in the lead is actually on mediums, to my knowledge. So, yeah, this guy called M Racer proved to be quite a fast driver himself. So we're going to keep on pushing, trying to get within the DRS zone of the Skills Rapids. But I think we're going to have to maybe pit this lap, since the guy is on mediums in the lead of this race. And it seems to be every time I've driven this track, I've really struggled to get a podium. So that is the goal at the moment, because we do have a few fast drivers in here. So really pushing as hard as possible. You can see we are actually gaining time on M Racer and Kills Rapid. So the pace on these mediums compared to the others does seem to be quite good. You can say losing 2 temps there, but I think we're going to gain it back on the exit. So there's many different approaches that you can take these corners. You can either take a lot of speed on the entry and lose out on the exit, or you could be a bit more calmer on the entry and gain it all on the exit, which is the approach that I'm taking at the moment. So I think we're going to box at the end of this lap. A very awkward pit entry, not much of a reference to really know when to slow down. So we're going to go on the soft tyres, and it looks like we're not going to be held by anyone else. It looks like our teammate is going in as well, but I don't think he'll be held at all. So did quite a nice pit entry, and now the game is on to see where we can finish this race. And then with Morris, it's the faster for 17.7. So coming out here, we haven't really lost too much time at all. So we have been undercutted, but the good thing is we're right back within the DRS zone, and you can see absolutely 3 wide coming into here. So coming off the exit of this corner, Veloce Dragon's red light is flashing, which means he is under 10% ERS, so he's going to be quite vulnerable going down the end of the straight. All blue cars in front, they all look like they're part of the same team, but one of them's a Williams and 2 of them are an Alpine. Was thinking about getting the inside here, but we're just going to be a bit patient, wait for the straight. The guy in the McLaren in second place is on the soft tyres, so he's looking to be very, very strong for a win in this race. So let's see what we can do here, because we are pretty much, I think, in like in a net P8 or something like that. So coming through into here, just carrying too much apex speed for this corner, and again we're running into the problem of this track. It's actually really hard to overtake round this circuit, so we're going to try and overtake the Dragon without using that much of the battery power, since he is already under 10%, so he should be going slower in a straight line. And looks like he's trying to fight this position, but don't think it was really worth it. And now we're up into P7 after a couple of people have pitted as well, so getting in the DRS zone of Kills Rapids, and we've got LOA Mars, who has set the fastest up of the race. So right here, we're just going to try and recoup as much of our battery as possible. But the problem is, whoever the guy is ahead of me has DRS from the car ahead of him. And that is the issue with this circuit. It is just so hard to overtake. I think just because of where you get on the power, it's always really tricky. So the guy ahead of you is always going to get on it much earlier than you. The dirty air effect is just so big. And yeah, it's let me know what you think of this track. It's really fun to drive, but track position is just so important. So coming off the exit of this corner, Veloce Dragon has 16 seconds worth of penalties somehow, and Embracer set the fastest lap of a 17.6 by Morris, and now we have done a 17.7 ourselves. So we're just gonna hope that these guys run out of battery, and that is really the only way to overtake. Either someone fully depletes their battery pack, or they make a very big mistake. And I think being behind in the DRS, we've only gained 2% ERS on that lap, so now we're actually coming up behind the slap bus, who is on the medium tyres, so it should be a little bit slower than everyone else around him at this stage of the race. So trying to get a good exit here and trying to be as close as possible to these guys up ahead. And there is so many blind corners on this track as well. It's a really tough track to race at for sure. Coming through into our sector, carrying a lot of apex speed coming through into here. Let's see if we can get a good exit of this penultimate right-hander. So try and stay nice and tight. We're not using any of the battery at the moment, and you can see the battery is going down quite quickly even without us using it. So we're just going to chill behind, let these guys waste their battery as much as possible. Coming through into here, it's almost going to be 3 wide coming through into here. Leo Morris, red light is flashing, and yeah, almost 3 wide. Now it's 2 wide going into here, which is really something you don't want to do. So trying to get a good exit off this corner, and are we maybe going to think about going down for a move down the inside? Yes, well, his red light was actually flashing there. He leaves the door wide open, and I don't think he particularly fought that too hard. So now we're up into P6, and the podium is right here, and that's what I was really targeting in this race, because it's so hard to make up so many positions, especially when you are starting at the back. So again, we're going to try and be as close as possible, but Kills Rapids has the DRS ahead on LOA Mars, and LOA Mars has the DRS on this guy up ahead of him. So kind of falling into that traditional DRS train, that caterpillar effect, where you want to be the man at the front of the train, or the man who's in second in this train, because you can see everyone is just absolutely rapid in a straight line, and this guy is actually DJ Perks, who has 12 seconds worth of penalty. So rapid, is he going to go down the inside? The answer is no. So 2 teammates up ahead, and I really wanted this podium so badly. I just can't seem to ever get a result around this circuit. So these guys are going side by side, and he has 12 seconds worth of penalties anyway, but he's still deciding to actually fight this position, as the SAP bus is actually hanging on to us quite nice. He's still going side by side, and we try and get a good run off this corner. Still have about 50% of the ERS. Was thinking back on the inside here, but thought better of it. Trying to get a good launch off this corner, and you can see that's allowed Morris to actually get away slightly. So we always have a lot of apex speed coming through into this corner. Let's see if we could get a good exit of this one, and using the ERS now, and since his red light's flashing, we're going to try and overtake without using any of the battery power. He goes quite defensive, but again, I think the 12 seconds of penalties and red light flashing isn't particularly worth it at this stage. So we get a move done up into P5, and now this is the penultimate lap of this race, and he's going down the inside again, which, yeah, guessing in an open lobby, feel free to do so, but in a league race it would be pretty worthless to do that. So now we are going to try and get as close as we possibly can up to these guys up ahead, and we're going to use whatever left we have of this battery pack for the last lap, because it does run out so quickly around this circuit. And anyway, Morris is actually on the controller as well, which again, at Australia and Mexico, he struggled very heavily with the controller, but round here it seems to be a very good input device, as Kills Rapids has a little bit of a moment. So we're going to try and be as close as we possibly can off the exit of this corner. So now we're going to go into the last lap, and we're quite a way behind what Morris is. So we're going to be using ERS here. His red light is flashing, so this should be quite a comfortable move. I know Morris is really struggling with the battery himself, but you can see just because of that, we've actually depleted 20 to 30% of our ERS just by trying to do that move. So this is really one of the main overtaking points left in the lap. So trying to get a good exit coming off here, using all of our ERS. Do we go down the inside here? Yes, we do go down the inside, almost failing to stop the car, making a little bit of contact, and that was one of our biggest opportunities. But his red light is still flashing, so he does have a couple lap older tyres. And let's see if we can get a good exit, but no, he gets a really good exit coming off this corner. We're going to go for another bite of the apple, go down into here, and he leaves some room on the inside. So let's see what we can do. We're going to go side by side, going through into this last sector, and we're going to give him this corner. Try and go for a little bit of a switchback to get a really good exit coming through this penultimate corner. But again, no matter what I do, I just can't get any good traction coming off this corner. Red light is flashing, but again, with the dirty air, you just don't pick up slipstream until the exit of the corner, and another day at Portimao, another day where we don't get on the podium. I really hope you enjoyed that. I've definitely missed doing open lobby, so again, make sure you hit the YouTube join button if you wish to join these on all platforms. Thank you so much for your support on the channel, and I will be catching you very soon. Peace.